Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Time is 5 o'clock, and the meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety is now called to order. Would like to note that we do have a quorum to conduct tonight's meeting. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the regular meeting of July 14th, 2016. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
You have a motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any comments with regard to the minutes?
Nope.
All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. There is none, so we'll roll right into new business. Item A, it's a bid opening for one 1997 Pierce Firefighter commercial fire engine. Anyone here to speak on that, Dave? No?
Last I heard, they hadn't gotten any bids as of yesterday.
Is that correct? Any ideas?
Yeah, I have not heard.
Was that from the auction website?
No, it went out, it was an actual notice that went out in the paper two different times.
Okay.
So do we need to defer this to a next meeting, or
I don't think we received any, but
there's no action required
I
on
thought
it?
Dina would be here.
Does anybody know if Dino's coming?
No. Tell you what I'm going to do is, in the
Sure,
interest
he
of
said-
perhaps someone showing up, I'm going to defer item A to the end of the agenda
Yeah.
at this point. So moving on right now is item B, the approval of Braun MOU for LPD legal representation. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this topic? Chief?
I really didn't have anything prepared, but I wanted to inform you about the contract before you with Charles Braun,
Okay.
who will be, if approved, be acting as the legal counsel to the chief of police, myself, and my command staff in matters where the city attorney may have a conflict, such as disciplinary hearings and other hearings of that nature. He will also be instrumental, Mr. Braun will, in policy development and general advisement to the police department.
If memory serves, I saw this on the agenda earlier this week. I believe it was, what, $6,500?
Yeah, that's the retainer.
The retainer,
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for the chief?
I guess I just have a question. It was mostly just for clarification on why the chief would need separate counsel from the city, and we have two attorneys on staff
Right.
now, so why would you need a separate attorney?
Well, the one attorney, Ms. Hoff, is the legal representation for the Merit Commission, and she would have to excuse herself. And she works very closely with Mr. Gutting on a daily basis. So there could be the argument there that those two, because of their close business relationship, might have a conflict of interest. Bringing Mr. Braun on brings an amazing wealth of knowledge, not only on legal proceedings with, as I mentioned, disciplinary issues, operational issues, policy development, those kinds of things that are very specific to policing and law enforcement. I could bring you his resume. It's about 12 pages long, but he's a legal genius and an icon in the Indiana criminal code and law enforcement legal issues.
Right. I guess, and it still is my question, though, as far as spending the $6,500 now, is this not something that you can just then would go to him if you, in fact, needed to have the legal representation separate from Gutting or Marhoff?
Yeah, we would go through 6,500 in no time. That's really a steal. I can tell you, and we're about to talk about another issue here before the Board of Works in just a minute, but he has already been instrumental, and we would have probably spent more than that on an as-needed basis just on this one issue. So,
Okay.
yeah, so, this is my first year as chief, and I think it's prudent and financially wise to do this. And if after the first year we look back and say, it was money that we shouldn't have spent, then I won't do it again in my second and third, fourth year, as long as I'm here. But I think this is the wise thing to do right now for myself and for our command staff and the police department.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
Any other questions?
Let me say a couple more things.
Oh.
too. Just to add to what Chief has said, Mr. Gutting certainly is corporate attorney, but his primary practice is in bond. He's a bond attorney, and so if we were to have Mr. Gutting utilize somebody in Barnes and Thornburg, we would go well past a retainer in a very short time period. So this is a far more prudent, certainly and frugal way to operate this. Okay?
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. No further questions? Any questions or comments from legal?
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve item B.
I move that we approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Give a second.
No further comments? All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the approval of S and AAS agreement with Body Worn. Sir?
So I could probably discuss this issue with you for hours. I've been working on it with many other people, including my command staff, the support of the mayor, the deputy mayor, for some time. It's no secret now in our national, if you pay attention at all to national news, that policing, law enforcement in general is under extreme scrutiny. And it has, in my opinion, never been a more dangerous time for police officers to do their jobs in this country. To that end, I have been approached with an opportunity that I feel we cannot pass on. And when you see the overall scope of this project that I would like for LPD to engage in, you will understand just what I'm talking about. When we talk about the concept of body-worn cameras, it's a massive project with many different facets that come into play. But without going deeply into that, into the technology, into all of the benefits that the city will glean from this and the officers and the citizens, it basically comes down to just a few points, right? What we're going to gain from this project is transparency, the perception and the reality of accountability, enhanced public community relations, and at the end of the day, hopefully, we're going to build, maintain, enhance the level of trust among the citizens of Lawrence and the police department that serves them. So I'm really excited to bring this project to the Lawrence Police Department, and it's my very strong opinion that this is going to improve officer safety. That's one of the very top things that we're going to glean from this, and it's really my pleasure to request this approval and hopefully very soon announce all the details of it at a time in the city of Lawrence where we're not experiencing chaos, we're not experiencing complaints, we're not in the middle of an in-custody death, an unreasonable use of force. This isn't a knee-jerk reaction to something negative. Rather, it's something progressive and innovative, which I think you're going to see more and more police departments in our country and our state come on board with this. It also coincides with a recently passed Indiana law, House Enrolled Act number 1019, which governs and gives at least initial structure to how body-worn cameras can be and should be implemented in municipalities in Indiana. So we're working very closely already with the folks at Utility Body Worn, who is the vendor that we have selected and are requesting your approval of, with legal advisors, City Legal, as well as Mr. Braun, who was just approved a moment ago, and the City Controller, Mr. Fenwick, and of course Mayor Collier and the command staff. So I know I didn't give you a lot of details in the weeds about exactly what it is, and that'll come soon. But just know as you vote for this that I'm very much in favor of it. And some of those things I just mentioned, including improved officer safety, delivering service, improved trust, and at the end of the day, a safer, more vibrant community in Lawrence.
In the interest of time and redundancy, guys, I'm going to ask that we hold off on questions. I know you said you had a representative here from that manufacturer, is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, he's here. He can answer all the technical, if you have anything really technical, but
Okay.
I'm confident I can answer any just kind of general questions you may have if you have any at this time.
Okay. If he has nothing prepared and you guys have some questions for the chief, I know there were a couple of points of interest that we spoke about, so feel free to ask those at any time. And Chief, take as much time as you need. I think this is a very,
Sure.
very necessary thing. So go ahead, guys.
I had, one of my questions was as far as policy and procedures then, so obviously that goes with Mr. Braun, but has that started and,
Absolutely.
okay,
As much as we have been looking at the technology, the actual equipment itself, the stuff you can put your hands on, and the software that we're going to be implementing with it, we have also been working very diligently to get a pilot policy in place. This pilot policy will guide how we unroll this project in its infancy, how we get this technology in our officers' hands. We have looked at sample policies from other cities across the country. We have looked at recommendations from the International Association of Chiefs of Police, which is a international organization, one of the leading governing bodies of police leadership and management. They have a model policy. We have looked at the national FOP's model policy, and what we're doing is we're going to blend all these policies together, and we're going to find out what works right here in the state of Indiana. We've also looked at some other agencies in Indiana. There aren't many. There's only 3 that I can think of, and I'm sure there's others, but I called my friend, the chief of the Greenwood Police Department, and I've looked at their body cam policy. The airport police department over at Indianapolis International Airport, they have some body cams that they use, some early generations. So we're looking at their policy as well. And it's my hope that Captain Schneider and Sergeant Newland, who are both detailed to this project, will have something on paper in the next week or two as we unfold this that's going to govern the ins and outs of how we deploy it initially. And then once we get all 44 units deployed, we will then have a very specific policy that's been vetted and approved by Mr. Braun, by City Legal, by you all, because I understand it'll come before you. So yes, policy is on our radar just as much as the overall. If you don't have a policy to guide the use of this technology, then that's a major problem, and we're working on that.
right, yeah. My other question then is, I understand that, how does the equipment work? I understand that we don't own the equipment, but then there's a charge for equipment in the contract. And I don't know what would be the percentage that something happens to these cameras, because obviously the police officers are wearing them.
Right.
And
So absent any obvious signs of neglect or abuse or those kind of things, police work is tough work. And these essentially what we're looking at here are smartphones. This right here is what it looks like. This is what a body cam looks like with this particular vendor that we're going to recommend. And it'll zip in to a uniform shirt, and it'll sit right here in the middle of the officer's chest. And the only thing that people will see is a little circle almost like a grommet in the uniform that will indicate the presence of a body camera. Officers, I'm not exactly sure what our policy is going to dictate, but I'm going to recommend that officers tell people that they're being videotaped and audio taped. And it's all digital. It's high-end, high-definition digital audio and video recording that is instantly, like as it happens, being transmitted to unlimited cloud storage. With this phone that is mounted on the officer's chest, there will also be synchronized video forward-facing and rear-facing in the officer's patrol car. So say, for example, a traffic stop. The officer will have at his, as soon as that traffic stop is over, he can go to his laptop computer, because it's all web-based, and he will have 3 video screens or 3 video images on his laptop that will show everything that just happened. So if that particular encounter resulted in an arrest, for example, the officer can review all of the audio and video from 3 different perspectives before he writes his report. so that maybe in the heat of the moment, he doesn't hear something correctly or he doesn't remember something correctly. He can review the video before he writes his arrest report or whatever report he's generating. And then the other side of that is months down the road, if that goes to court, the officer can review the video, review the report before he or she testifies in court. So it improves, again, it goes to that improving the accuracy and the trust and the professionalism. So that's kind of how it works. I mean, it's such a big question. How does it work? Each police car will have basically a wireless hotspot in it that we're partnering with Verizon to make sure that is functional. And when as the video streams through this wireless hotspot, it goes up. Like I said, it goes up to a cloud. A part of this project I'm really excited about is, as part of the agreement that you're reading there, it's unlimited data storage, which is usually a deal breaker for a lot of smaller municipalities because they can't afford the storage. So that's a big thing. Officers will only be able to review their own video, right? So they won't be able to see what other officers do on their shifts, or so it's all very controlled. That'll all be part of the policy as well.
No, I meant referring to the cost,
Okay.
as far as in, if the company itself has some type of prediction of how many of these phones get damaged in a
So-
period of time, because
Right.
you are wearing them, and officers, it's just not all, turn around and let me put these on you, I mean.
Yeah, officers
it's-
fight with people, they scrap, they get on the ground, they roll around often. And
Right,
as part of the duties of being a police officer, if this technology, if this phone becomes damaged or broken, as part of the agreement, we will as soon as possible, and I'm envisioning within a day or two, we will have a replacement phone for that officer. And that won't be our cost. We won't own these. The company owns these. They are providing the service. Really what we own is the video. We own the data. But all of the cameras themselves, anything in a plastic case, anything that's got glass on it, anything that you can touch,
right.
the company owns, and they provide that service to us as part of this service agreement.
Oh, well, because I see replacement parts pricing in the contract,
Okay.
as in
If-
the
if
camera
I-
and the.
Did I misspeak there?
No, but I think I could shed a little light on that. It might be helpful. to
So
answer your
this is Mark
Okay.
Wood. He's our representative from Utility Body Worn. And I've been working with Mark for many years, but very just specifically on this project here for a few months. So go right ahead if I didn't say something
No,
clearly.
no, you were absolutely right, but I think I could shed a little more light on that for you.
Excuse me, Mark, this is recorded, so if you wouldn't mind speaking to the microphone, please. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, again, my name is Mark Wood, and I'm actually a retired Indianapolis Metropolitan Police officer, living my second life, my second career here. But just to shed a little light on what you said, what you're seeing in that cost is a replacement cost if there is some neglect. I mean, if for some reason, through some neglect, something is damaged, then that's the cost to it. But if it's normal wear and tear that an officer is involved in, doing his job on the streets, and something happens to it, we're just going to replace that for you.
Okay,
There will be no cost to that whatsoever.
okay.
So what you're seeing is just replacement costs in the event of neglect, which we just don't experience very often in the business.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yeah,
very good.
okay.
Sir? Any further questions?
I just had one, and maybe more of a Jason question. Funding for this, do we know, where's that coming from?
Our funding for this is over 5 years, so we have a down payment that will be due here soon,
Yeah.
and we do have the funds available for that. And then going forward, as we're planning the budget process for next year, we've already factored in the cost for that in that. So going forward, we will make those funds available.
Perfect, thank you.
And to the cost of that, when we look at the average cost per officer to equip them with this technology, it winds up costing between $6 and $7 a shift for each officer to have this equipment on him or her for the next 5 years. And that amount is fixed. So what I kind of compare that to is, for less than what the officer is going to pay it is, to buy lunch, he's going to have enhanced officer safety, protection from litigation, false claims of abuse or neglect, of corruption. He's going to have at his or her disposal proof positive that we're doing a great job in the Lawrence Police Department. And to me, we can't afford not to do it, in my opinion. So,
Chief, I have one final question, if you don't mind, sir.
Not at all.
In previous administrations, and having experience on the council myself, there have been times that the administration elects not to enter into contracts past their term, and I've raised this question with you earlier today. Can you explain the escape clause that is written in the contract for me, please?
well, without getting too legal, because it is a very specific legal document, but it's my understanding, and Mark can elaborate on this, if at any time, for any given reason, we decide, the City of Lawrence Police Department, that we aren't happy with this service, that it's not working out for us, that it's just not needed, for any reason, we can terminate this agreement with written notice. I believe it's 60 days, and we will be refunded any funds that, up until that point, so prorated refund of the amount that we've put down on this contract. It is, essentially, it's a 100% satisfaction guarantee. So I think to your point, extending beyond December 31st of 2019
Correct.
could be problematic. That would be something I think the administration will have to look at, and if people have a problem with it, then, we could plan to end the service agreement at that time.
Right.
If that's needed, but I'm hoping 3.5 years from now, this is going to be just as much a part of the uniform, and we're going to wonder what we did without it.
Right.
And that won't be an issue.
Okay.
Yeah, but it is severable.
Very good. Any further questions?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Thank you,
you.
Mark. Okay. Any comments from legal?
No comment.
Okay. Mayor, do you have anything to add on this, sir? Or?
I think the only thing I'd add to it is how strong I am in support of this. This is one of those few occasions when Jason Fenwick and I walked out of the room and I looked at him and said, I want to get this done. And so Jason and I have a very close working relationship, as is obvious, but when we heard the presentation by Body Worn, it was something that I thought would certainly help put the city of Lawrence on the map, so to speak, and put us at the very cutting edge. Wouldn't have happened, of course, without Chief Hoffman and Body Worn coming in and giving a great presentation. So I am 100% in support of this.
Thank you, sir. No further comments or questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous, the motion carries. Thank you, guys. And I've lost my place on the agenda. Thank you for that. Item D, approval of Otis Avenue Extension Street Construction Permit. William Anthony, I believe you have something you'd like to share with us.
Good evening. I'll give you a little background, just kind of why we're here. Lawrence Municipal Code Section 5-2-2 delegates to the Board of Works authority to issue street construction permits. The FHRA applied for this particular street construction permit that you're considering here tonight. Essentially, just very high level, it extends from Memorial Park Drive to Lee Road. It finishes off kind of Otis Avenue, if you will. So what we've done, the FHRA submitted their application with their plans and all other supporting documentation. We had our on-call engineering consultant, USI, review the plans for stormwater and street design compliance. After a couple comments and back and forth, we did the plans that are in front of you tonight are the approved plans by our engineer. So they have reviewed and approved those plans from a stormwater and street design standpoint. Our utilities actually did an internal plan review and have approved the water and sanitary plans as well as meeting their specifications. So what we presented to you tonight, we have plans that meet all relevant specifications, and we are just awaiting your approval. And I actually have some folks, in case you have technical questions about the plans. I have some people from Poindexter Excavating here. UCI, who did the design of the plans on behalf of the FHRA, as well as Mr. Burris from the FHRA. We also have our primary plan reviewer from USI, Michael Breach, as well, in case you have technical questions about the approvals.
Anyone have any questions?
I had a couple questions. Cam, not to put you on the spot, on economic, do you mind coming up here real quick?
I think you meant to say to put you on the spot.
Maybe, no.
For the record, would you state your name and who you're with, please?
My name's Cam Starnes. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Lawrence.
Thank you.
Two quick questions. So this is a pretty big parcel we're splitting up. Is that because we have something that's going forward? Is it because we think they're more valuable split? It looks like a great project, don't get me wrong. Real estate wise, is there something we're planning on, hoping for, dreaming?
Yeah, and by we, of course, the Fort Harrison Reefs Authority factors into that, and I think if you want to hear from the FHRA side, it may be a good question to also pose to Freddie Burris.
Maybe so.
But I know that there's currently a request for proposals out
Mhm.
for parcel J, which this would bisect in a way.
Yeah.
But that request for proposals already sort of presupposes that this road extension happens.
Okay.
And I think, broader or bigger question than the parcel split itself, we're dealing with reuse, redevelopment of an old military base, the infrastructure of which was made to serve the military base, not bring people to work or to home or to shop or to eat, that kind of thing. So I think looking at Otis Avenue extending just across that section to Lee Road is largely positive and probably helps further development on both sides of what will be the extension. And I think that considerable further development on both sides of that road is planned. It's a matter of how it gets carried out at this point.
Has there been any discussion of removing the median in Lee Road to make a right and left turn, or is it just only going to be right turn towards 56th?
I am unable to answer that. I would say that's probably a good question for either our plan reviewer from USI or somebody else with a technical background.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cam.
Anything else?
That's my
Okay.
Thank you.
question.
Mr. Anthony? Or?
Well, do you want that question?
Yeah, if someone has the answer, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
From an accessibility standpoint, if we're putting another road onto Lee Road, it just seems, oh, yeah. Would you state your name? and
Yes,
company?
I'm Jack Stocks with United Consulting.
Okay. So what I'm asking is, you travel east on Otis Avenue, the proposed Otis Avenue, you basically intersect with a median on Lee Road that prohibits you from turning left. Is that correct, or am I lost it? I seem like right there before the stoplight at 56th Street, there's a concrete median and you cannot turn left. Is that right?
You said you're headed on east on the new Otis Avenue?
Correct. To where
Headed
it
toward
inter-
Lee Road.
Correct.
The plans do show a both left and right turn on Lee Road.
Okay, so there will be a modification to Lee Road as well then.
Right. Lee Road is going to have a left and right turn. The median is cut out there.
Okay.
56th Street is the one where it's only, you cannot turn left from the other road, Melbourne Road. You cannot turn left onto 56th Street.
Right. Only a Wheeler Road, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Right by
believe that's right, yeah.
my favorite pizza place. Okay, very good. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. That answers my question.
All right.
Any further comments or questions? No. Anything from legal?
No comment.
Okay. With no further comments or question, anyone else wish to speak on this topic? Freddie, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to share as well, sir. I don't want to, you came here, we'd love to hear you talk. How are you tonight, sir?
Fine, sir. I'm Freddie Burris, Executive Director with the Fort Harrison Reefs Authority.
Okay.
We're located at 9120 Otis Avenue.
Thank you.
I think someone asked a question earlier, what was planned for parcel J in terms of that? Is one of the primary things that it's going to address. We're in close conversation with extending and doing an extension with the 4 departments, and that currently has 224 units. We're in conversation with an Ackerman group out of Cincinnati, Ohio, with the hopes and plans of adding an additional 101 apartments there. Also, as we try to sell the village and sell the fort, it's kind of hard for developers and possible retail merchants to really visualize what it's going to look like. So we also, the street has always been planned, so we're trying to get it in there so we kind of enhance our potential to get somebody in quicker and faster.
Okay.
Most guys they just can't visualize what it's going to look like,
Sure.
just plain land. So it's kind of a marketing strategy and to address the potential of an additional 101 units.
If I may ask, what's your target market for those apartments? Is it younger families over 55?
No, we're actually it's going to be and I can send you emails. It should have like 22 3-bedrooms, maybe 22 bedrooms, and what they're trying to do is make it more marketable for families versus the other unit primarily had studios and 1-bedrooms. They did have some 2 bedrooms, but they had no 3 bedrooms.
Understood.
So we are trying to target a family market.
Okay. All right. Any further questions for Mr.?
Those 101 units on the north side of the proposed Otis Avenue, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Seeing what was on my drawing here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. No further comments or questions. I believe, do we have a motion to approve? Did I call for a motion? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
No further comments or questions. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous? Thank you guys for the presentation. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the RFQ for the purchase of 1 new snowplow truck. It seems like, if I may, seems like we're looking at 2 different items here that probably are very similar, if I'm not mistaken.
They are.
Would you like to speak on both of those, and we'll vote on them simultaneously?
Sure.
Oh.
Yep.
Order pizza here in a minute.
With regards to the snowplow truck, specs have been completed. We're finalizing our quote invitation with our legal counsel to get it out. All documents and schedule, everything will be compliant with Indiana Public Purchasing Laws procedure. We've received funding approval from the Controller's Office. With regards to the snowplow truck, I've invited our street department director to just kind of give you an idea of the need of why we're asking for a new snowplow truck. So I would invite him to come up, then I'll address the fuel delivery
Okay.
contract afterwards.
Before he stops, could you, I understand what an RFQ is. For those of us who don't know, could you just kind of explain what that stands for and what it means?
Request for quotes. Indiana law allows it for purchases between $50,000 and $150,000.
Okay.
So we will follow that process as we believe the total price of the snowplow truck to be in the neighborhood of $140,000.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Lotz, would you state your name and
David
role?
Lotz, Director of Streets.
Okay.
This is to replace it's like a 1998 Volvo. You can't buy parts for it anymore. Even the mechanic says he's scared to work on it because if we tighten something too tight, the lines might just fall off of it.
Okay.
It costs about $600 for a oil pan. It rusted out last year, and they didn't even make one. We had to have it special made for it.
Gotcha. Any questions?
No.
I do know those trucks take some abuse,
Yes.
and you have graciously given me a tour of the facilities, and I have no doubt whatsoever that your decision to replace this truck is probably the best one, so,
Yes.
thank you.
And the RFQ for fuel delivery. Again, with this one, we've completed the specs. We're finalizing the quote invitation. We've gathered our list of vendors that we're going to send it out to. Again, all documents and schedule will be compliant with Indiana public purchasing laws. Let me see, there was some I wanted. Oh, our current contract with Ports Petroleum, that's who handles our fuel delivery services. It expires August 31st. So we will be looking, they will be invited to quote as well, but and David, I'm going to invite David again to speak to the technical aspects as to why we are changing some of the specs and looking for a new fuel delivery contract.
Number one, we need a top tier. A top tier fuel is it's a cleaner fuel, and it saves the wear and tear on the engine itself. Right now, we've had problems with injectors, pumps, and it's due to not having that top tier. You're going to save gas mileage, and the diesel fuel usually has a lubricant in it, and they've cut it back. They've cut the lubricant in the fuel to a very minimum standard. So, but we're looking at a better diesel fuel that they're going to add that lubricant back in the fuel to where it's easier on everything as far as, again, injectors, fuel pumps, and gas mileage.
Does this only apply to diesel?
No, it applies to the gasoline as well.
Okay. Any questions?
It's for all city vehicles?
Yes.
Right, is that what, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Lotz. Since these are both RFQs, legal, if you have any questions, if you have any concerns with me voting simultaneously.
No concerns.
Okay, all right. I'm going to entertain a motion to approve both item E and F at one time.
I move that we approve E and F.
Okay, second?
Second.
All right, no further comments or questions. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the city services agreement, item G. City services agreement.
FHRA.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
I just sent you a revised one yesterday from Mr. Gutting.
I apologize, Mr. Fenwick was in my ear there. The city service agreement with FHRA is something that we have been working on actually since back in January when the Senate Bill 151 was passed. And what we've done we've developed a very good working relationship with the FHRA and their board. I would hazard to guess to say that we've probably never been able to work this closely together for so long on various centered projects. So the city services agreement primarily is designed to pay for public safety in the city of Lawrence that we afford to the reuse authority area in there. Because of the way the TIF operates, city of Lawrence has really kind of had to struggle as our public safety costs continue to increase. And so the FHRA has worked with us in determining a fair way to determine how we can continue to offer the same services we're offering, and perhaps even better with an increased amount of contribution, let's call it, from the FHRA toward the city of Lawrence. The idea being that within 5 years, we will get 100% of that, the money that's expended for us to put into public safety. If you'll look at the contract, you'll see that it's a staggered amount. FHRA certainly needs some operating cash to be able to complete some of their projects they're beginning. The parcel J that you're referring to is something that we are interested in making sure that FHRA has the available funds to be able to make that happen. And so we're staggering the payments out, and with a full payment due, I believe it's 2020, I believe it is on that, or 2021, I think it is.
Yes.
Get the 100% amount in there.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, but in the past, the FHRA has always made an annual contribution to the city of Lawrence, correct?
Yeah, oddly enough, that payment has been kind of catch as catch can. It's never actually been a contract in place. It's just kind of been a year-by-year agreement, and that payment kind of went up and down depending upon what the agreement was for that particular year. I have to say that FHRA certainly was on board with us from the very beginning, understanding our need to have a consistent amount of money coming into the city.
Sure.
They certainly were in agreement that the public safety was an important priority for us as a city, and certainly for FHRA.
Right.
So in hashing out the details of the contract, we were able to come to an agreement relatively easily, actually, with FHRA.
But I think in past years, I think it's always been a gentleman's agreement, and there's really nothing substantial
Yeah, it's kind of been a
in place.
handshake.
Yeah.
There was an agreement that actually finished up this year for a certain amount of money, but years prior to that, it depended upon what year you wanted to look at and how much that payment was.
Gotcha. So I think this is a necessary evil. Puts it in documentation form, basically, and
It certainly allows
covers
us to
both
budget
parties.
much better for the city
Sure.
in there, so.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for the mayor?
No, I have a housekeeping item, just, which version are we looking at that's the newest one?
The one I just sent out yesterday afternoon.
There was,
Well, last
there
night, I
was
guess.
was a
an
last
night. It was
updated
last
version
night.
sent out at the end of the day yesterday, I believe. Kathy, is that correct?
Yeah, and then I sent it out about 7:30 last night, I think, when I came back in the office.
Okay.
Yeah, I was actually on the phone yesterday at noon doing the final details for this, so.
Yeah, I didn't get it till like 5:30 last night.
Correct. 7:48
If you're-
PM last night.
7:48.
Mhm.
I was
If
in
your
the
first
office sending
number-
it
Here
out.
you go, I got it, okay.
If your first number is something like 696, is that right, up there? Should be right at or very near $700,000 if your first number is that.
Uh,
I had 691.
691?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Sorry.
691,947.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. No further comments or questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve the service agreement with the city
move-
service agreement.
I move that we approve the city services agreement.
Okay. Do I have a second?
You have a second?
No further comments or questions. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Unanimous. Thank you, Mayor. Last item under new business, just a quick note. I received a note that there have been no bids placed for the firefighter commercial fire engines, so there will be no action required on item A. So we're going to go ahead and just remove that from the agenda for the most part for no other reason. Last item on the agenda, though, however, is the approval of the RFB for the certain road resurfacing projects. RFB? That's a new one. Oh, okay. And that's different from a quote, how?
We're anticipating that the cost will be over $150,000.
Gotcha.
So you may remember that this board has approved back in May of 2016 task order number 1 for USI Consultants to
Correct.
put together bid documents for the following projects: David Street from 48th Street to the cul-de-sac north of 54th Place, Dean Street and 52nd Place from 52nd Street to David Street, Boy Scout Road from 56th Street to Fall Creek, and then Oak Landon Road from 75th Street to 79th Street.
Okay.
That's what these bid documents cover, are those projects. We're anticipating first advertisement out to be advertised on August 15, 2016, with a second advertisement on August 22nd, 2016, and bids being due by 4 p.m. on September 8th, 2016, with the goal to do some resurfacing projects this year.
Then will we open the bids at the beginning?
That would, yes, yeah.
So you are targeting this fall to get the projects completed, is that correct?
We're on a very aggressive timeline.
Okay.
I'm assuming the goal is to have one contractor do the 3 projects.
That's the plan, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anthony.
Thank you.
At this point, I'll entertain a motion to approve item H, the RFB for certain road resurfacing projects.
Make a motion to approve.
Do I get a second?
Second?
No further comments or questions. All those in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. Thank you. Unanimous. Comments of the administration. It's been a busy night for you, sir. If you have anything else you'd like to share, please do.
Must feel like he's at church.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you very much for tonight. It was a big night for us, as you guys already know. And thank you for your efforts here tonight in getting some really pardon my vernacular, but some really cool things going for the city right now. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Did I miss something? I did?
Come on, Dave.
One just comment on behalf of the mayor as well, but we completed our transportation asset management plan, which basically gave us a 5-year plan to resurface and maintain our roads. Friday, July 29th was the deadline for the community crossings grant through NDOT. NDOT had released, I think, $190 million to go to localities around the state for certain types of road projects. The city of Lawrence did submit 14 applications totaling projects of $2.2 million, with the goal that a majority of those would be done this year. So I can run through the list, or if you want to hear what we submitted for. Otherwise, we did submit 14 different projects.
Quite
So-
frankly, I would love to hear the list, because I
Okay.
think there's nothing wrong with positive improvements within the city, so.
So the first ones were the streets that are covered by the RFB that you all just passed, so I won't repeat those.
Sure.
But then we have 46th Street from Franklin to Shadeland, Leon Drive from Kenyon to 52nd Street, 62nd Street from Oak Landon to Carroll Road, Thunderbird Road from Pendleton Pike to 59th, Sunnyside Road from Pendleton Pike to 59th, 79th Street from Oak Landon to Carroll Road, 59th Street from Lee Road to Sunnyside, 63rd Street from Lee Road to Oak Landon, and Midhoffer Road from 46th to 52nd.
Wow. That's great.
So, and all of those rated very low on the Pacer scale, so that's why they were obviously chosen first.
Good. And when will we have any notification of having been awarded that?
NDOT is supposed to release the successful awards the end of August, early September timeframe.
Very good.
All right,
Thank you, Mr. Anthony.
thank you.
Any further comments from the administration?
The only thing I would add from the seat back here is that I'm exceedingly proud of Bill and David, because they really busted their tail to get these projects in. We were under a very tight timeline, and we got the asset management plan, which puts ahead of a lot of cities our size.
Mhm.
And the fact that they got 14 of them ready to roll is a pretty impressive body of work.
It's a very large task. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. Any citizens in the audience as citizens' comments? I think we've just about had everybody come up to the podium. Thanks, guys.
Full round.
Okay, last item on the agenda is adjournment. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor for adjourn, please raise your right hand. We are adjourned. Thank you.